A sophisticated new photographic grading system is allowing this family to use their labor more effectively.
I think the big thing is they're gentle on product.
The Hall family of Hoople, North Dakota has been in the commercial potato business since the 1930s. The extended family, today with 7 partners from 2 generations, farms 6,500 acres. Roughly 1,500 acres of that is red and yellow potatoes for the fresh market. This fall, they installed a multi-million-dollar optical grading system.
I would say it was a little scary to be the one to pull the, to take that jump or take that leap.
It uses cameras to sort potatoes individually.
It's taking about 80 pictures per potato.
Similar systems are used for other produce like apples and cherries, but this is the only one in the region for potatoes and one of the very few of this style in the world. So it's a big investment, but the Halls are betting on technology to increase quality for their customers in this generation and the next. For Agweek, this is Mikkel at Hoople, North Dakota. The Quall family has been involved in dairy in Ransom County since the late 1940s. Last year, brothers Alan and Rodney Quall, along with their sons, pulled the trigger on a massive technological upgrade.
It's kind of a legacy move on our part. It's a big move, but I feel like it's, we've done several budgets, and I think it should work.
The upgrade included a huge state-of-the-art freestall barn for about 1,000 cows.
When the cow comes in, it identifies her here with her neck transponder, so the operator can come in and take a look at this screen and know what's happening in the rotary for each cow that's on here.
Once in a stall, the robots go to work.
In the front of each one of these arms, there's a 3D digital camera that views the teats of the cow hanging down from the udder. It remembers what the height is each time that cow comes in.
The operation produces more than 10,000 gallons of milk every day. In Lisbon, North Dakota, this is Mikkel for Agweek. A family with roots in Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota has been teaching ag aviation since the 1940s.
Clear. I was flying before my feet would reach the pedals.
Morris Riggin has been teaching ag pilots since he was 19. He started flying about 10 years before that.
I don't ever remember not being in an airplane.
The Riggin family has been up in the air for about 100 years. Morris's great uncle was a World War I fighter pilot, and his dad, Wayne, was a flight instructor in World War II.
After World War II was over, the company he worked for in Mississippi said, "Hey, we're going to start this new crop dusting business." He says, "We don't know anything about it. Would you like to hang around and do it?" So that's how Dad started spraying. There's no graceful way to do this.
Gotta be pretty fit to do this. Just get into the plane. Ag aviation takes many specific skills for safe operation in a business with no margin for error.
Especially with a loading airplane, because every time you turn, it's different. And we teach them the basics, how to go find the field, how to scout the field from the air. Then we actually teach them how to fly low. So this is the height, about 10 foot. There's just some people that when it gets right down to it, aren't cut out to fly low.
You were talking about the ex-military helicopter pilots.
He was trained as a medevac pilot. They go into hot landing zones and they're being shot at. We flew down across the field. I gave him a demo, right? And on the way back, he looked at me. He says, "That's enough of that." He says, "I've never been so scared in my life."
Well, that was a nice little flight. Very smooth landing.
Well, nothing that 40,000 hours won't teach you.
Riggin Flight Service teaches about 20 new ag aviation students a year in an industry that could use about 200. For Agweek, this is Mikkel at Madison, South Dakota. Larson and his wife Sharon and family have bought and restored many vintage cars over the years, but in 2017, they bought this 1939 International Milk Delivery Truck.
It is, I think, very extremely rare. We've done a lot of research and found one other gentleman in Missouri that had one.
The rear is appointed with interior wood with a canvas top, and Larson thinks it's largely original. It's decorated with signage from the former Arculary grocery company based in Duluth. The truck is thought to have delivered milk in that community from the 1940s to the 1960s. In its later years, it was used for store promotions. Larson and his wife love the nostalgia of a simpler time. And they say they're happy if their new ride also helps promote dairy products. For Agweek, this is Mikkel in Moorhead, Minnesota.
The check deal, that was because there was a misunderstanding in the office, and checks were not supposed to be issued when they did. And we tried to contact everybody on the list that it affected, but we didn't call everybody in time, and they called the state, and that's when the state got involved.
The PSC has had a hearing today, right?
Yep.
And what does that amount to as far as you're concerned?
Well, it's just a cease and desist, just until everything gets figured out.
How did you learn how to do the elevator bridge?
I've been in the grain business for 6 years, so it's not like I've woke up last week and decided to do this. I do have experience doing it.
You're still a young fellow,
Yeah.
and I suppose it's partly some of these things are new problems for you to engage with.
With any new business, especially when you're growing that quickly, it's you will have a lot of growing pains, and that's what we're facing right now, is a lot of growing pains.
Walter Grotte loves a challenge. He started out in the 1960s moving haystacks. Then he built a machine to move Commodity Credit Corporation grain bins among farms. Things picked up in the 1980s when he built a machine big enough to move the iconic blue Harvestor silos for broke livestock farmers.
So I called A.O. Smith, the president of A.O. Smith, and said, does anybody move them in one piece? And he says, no way, don't even try it.
Grotte took that as a challenge and built his silo mover that they dubbed the Mighty Mover. Walter is 81 and keeps going. His grandson Max, 23, is joining him in the business, and he's already thinking of ways to improve the process. The Grottes just keep getting bigger ideas about bigger moves. In Findlay, North Dakota, this is Mikkel Pates for Agweek.
And reporter Mikkel Pates joins us in studio, and you have done this Flags on Farm story for how many years?
You know, I've done it maybe over the past 10 years 3 or 4 times. It sort of started out as something where I would just drive along and see something that inspired me.
And farmers are really proud to have flags on their farms, aren't they?
Yeah, a lot of times they'll have a special story about why they display the flag, when they do it. Maybe they have family members that have been in the military. Sometimes they've been in the military.
Lasting impressions that you have from doing this series?
And there was one down in Orange City, Iowa, where the people had made a flag cover the whole roof of their old hog shed. And this was something that people would stop and take pictures of.
Mikkel will be back with us a little later in this show for our panel discussion.
Keith Gemmel farms with his son and grandson near Fortville, North Dakota. About half their acreage is for livestock feed. And on this day, they're struggling to get about 700 acres of silage corn out of the fields while it still has feed value. There was no way to get trucks into the field after 2 feet of snow and another inch of rain, so he and a group of neighbors improvised. They could have hooked 4-wheel drive tractors up to trucks and pulled them through, but that would have been too hard on trucks. Besides, a lot of their fields are too small, so that wouldn't work. Instead, they modified manure spreaders, adding high wooden sides and removing the spreader portion from the back end. Near Fortville, North Dakota, this is Mikkel Pates for Agweek.